lot of the times you hear me talk about the idea that when you hire the Esposito group here at EXP, you get an entire team that goes to work for you, not just an individual agent. And I was thinking the other day that perhaps some folks don't understand what that truly means and some of the value that's there. So I wanted to sit down here with Ashley because her and I work together both on a number of listings and a lot of buyers. And collectively, we found a really good rhythm that we think gives the best of both worlds and almost a two for one situation. So I know when we talked earlier, Ashley, we were discussing sort of the difference that you've seen between when you were working as an individual agent
Mhm.
for another brokerage and when you join the team
Right.
and the differences that you see and some of the value and benefits. So from your perspective, coming onto the team and working together now for over a year,
Yeah.
what's some of the value that you see that your clients will receive
Mhm.
by working not only individually with you, but also collectively with this entire team?
Yeah, so I think like the big difference between working solo and working on the team is the ability to collaborate and the ability to bring in multiple perspectives for buyers and sellers. We're able to do a two for one for your strengths and mine, but also the support that the staff here kind of provides as well. So we're able to really focus in on like helping the clients, paperwork and whatnot, is something that we're supported with, Sandy and Nikki and Nami. Pedro's able to kind of give us the opportunity to do a bunch of showings. And you and I are able to like really focus in on the clients, whether it's a buyer or a seller, and I'm totally going off track.
So when you're talking to, let's say, a
Yeah.
seller,
Hmm.
like what's the conversation? Why are they better off working with us as a collective team than going with perhaps another team or another individual agent?
So I typically will focus in on why it's more beneficial to work with us as a team versus a solo agent because of the time and the all the knowledge that we're able to give them. They get a two for one, like you had just mentioned. They not only do they get to work with me, they also are able to, um, you know, get your expertise and your professional opinion on things. We can always call you in. We can always have you join the conversation. So it's like working with two agents versus working with the solo agent. You have no idea the time and the efforts that an agent has to put into a transaction. And if they have multiple of those, the stress and the things that can slip through the cracks, there's a lot of opportunity for that to happen with a solo agent versus working with the team that has support like we have.
Yeah. And I think when you talk about a two for one, the beauty of the team that we've built
Yeah.
together here is that not only do you get two agents and their experience and their different skill sets and the value that they bring just as an individual,
Right.
but I think the the part that people don't understand is you're getting two agents that also have a tremendous support system behind them.
Right.
So you get the two agents that have the time to dedicate
Yeah.
to delivering all of that.
Exactly.
Because even if we worked as a team, but we didn't have the support behind the scenes, we would still have to deal with all of that paperwork and,
Yeah.
all of the stuff about running a business that really doesn't get put out in front of the public.
Exactly.
But if you're an individual agent, listen, at the end of the day, if you hire an individual agent and that's the
Yeah.
only transaction that they have going on, then
Yeah.
obviously you could get all of their attention and
Right.
they could have more than enough time to service you as an individual.
Right.
Problem is that if that is the case and that's the only piece of business, then the experience and the knowledge of
Yeah.
knowing what's going on in the marketplace and how buyers and sellers are responding to different things, you
Yeah.
don't get that.
Exactly.
So even if you break it down and look at it, you want the experience, you want the knowledge, you also want the agent that has the time.
Exactly.
And I feel like we've been able to work together both on the listing home side
Hmm.
and helping buyer side
Right.
to really be able to provide that quality of service, that experience that they deserve, and that we feel is in their best interest. So on the
Yeah.
buy side, talk a little bit
Okay.
more. So if a buyer is working with you as a real estate agent? Talk about some of the value of the team that you think makes us stand out.
I think that between not only you, but Pedro as well, um, I think we have like a really good system down where, we bring on a buyer, and whether they be a first time buyer or experienced buyer, um, typically you and I will have a sit down conversation with them, kind of understand their motivation, and get them out to some showings. And I typically will handhold them through the first couple of showings, to kind of really understand what they're looking for and explain houses to them. And then once you and I know that it's a really serious house for them, they're really motivated on that property. I feel like we both get out there. We both make sure that we're talking to the agent that is, covering that the listing.
Creating that relationship,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
exactly. And really establishing like ourselves and putting ourselves out there for the buyer. And then once the tour happens of the property, we're able to kind of come back to a conversation, whether it be on the phone or in the office. And you're really good at articulating like what that chess game of buying or making an offer is, which I think is hard to articulate, especially to buyers who are first time buyers or haven't bought in a while.
Yeah, I mean, and I appreciated that sort of analogy with the chessboard. When we were talking
Yeah.
about this earlier, you were talking about you felt like being able to understand what
Yeah.
moves to make, what options the buyers have,
Right.
and then be able to articulate and explain those things. I
Right.
think that's a critical part, and
Hmm.
it's for a couple of reasons. Number one is you want to be able to relay the confidence that you have in the
Exactly.
different decisions that they could make and
Hmm.
why it's beneficial and some of the pros and cons of each.
Yeah.
Because if there was a clear path that it was like, this is what you can do to get the house,
Yeah.
then it'd be really easy. But
Right.
each of those paths have different risks and rewards
Right.
associated with them. And I think that has been one of the realizations that I've had is that I actually very, very much enjoy that
That.
part of the conversation,
Right.
being able to evaluate the property and the opportunity
Hmm.
that's there and match it with the motivation of the client and the options that they have, both the financial options
Yep.
and choices they have to make,
Right.
but then the associated risks that come along with all of the contingencies. And I
Right.
think being able to articulate and relay that to a buyer using not only our immediate experience of, the 70, 80, 90 homes a year that we sell collectively,
Right.
but also using the experience of, over 1,000 home sales. Like I've
Hmm.
been in so many of these negotiations and I've
Right.
articulated it so many times that I understand sort of what works for different
Right.
buyers and sellers. And no two clients are the same. And
Right.
some need to hear it a certain way and others
Right.
need to hear it a different way. And so I think you can only gain that through experience and repetition over time,
Right.
but also with that, if you're really good at it, you lose the time to be able to do that in
Hmm.
volume if you've got to handle all of the paperwork, if you've got to handle all of the showings, if you've got to
Right.
handle every part of the process
Right.
for all of these buyers and you have 20, 30, 40 buyers at anyone,
You
it's
can't.
impossible to do it.
Right.
So to collaborate with somebody who has a lot of knowledge and experience
Hmm.
yourself, um, but be able to lean on each other for you to
Right.
sort of hold their hand and make sure that they're comfortable and go
Hmm.
out to the properties and explain the situations,
Right.
and then being able to, if needed, lean on me for the experience that I have.
Right.
And then we lean on Pedro for his availability and youth and
Yeah.
enthusiasm and energy that he brings. And then we lean on the team for paperwork and
Right.
logistics and timing of
Hmm.
things and making sure everything runs smoothly. Again, it's sort of been a development over time, but that is why I built the team this way.
Right.
And I really do feel like it can benefit not only our clients, but just us as agents,
Right.
being able to give us the time so that not only we can focus on the right things for our clients, but have the time to be able to live our lives and enjoy our lives
Hmm.
so that we don't get burnt out.
I mean, I think both buyers and sellers, um, like utilizing the system that has been put in place. I think they've only had great things to say about it. And, it's really awesome when you only have to show them a couple houses and they find the one, and we're able to get it right under contract because of because of the way you have things running.
Yeah. Well, it's been a lot of fun, and that's the idea right now, is being able to collaborate more with a team environment, with
Mhm.
great agents, with great support staff, with great media, and help all behind
Yeah.
the scenes. So,
Right.
yeah, I'm excited about sort of what's to come, and how we can continue to refine this process to better serve our clients, and to make this whole process more enjoyable for everybody.
Yeah.